Hey you guys, I'm Venus Monique from the hit crime drama Vindication, and you guys should definitely make sure you're catching the Maurice Brown Show on Roku TV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show. We've got two very special guests on the show today. An actor, executive producer, and writer, as well as an awesome actor as well, and also producer Joel DeVisser and Dan Knutson of the film Game Changer on the Maurice Brown Show. Guys, welcome. How are you today? Good to have you on.
Great. Thanks, Maurice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, doing great, Maurice. Glad to be here.
Man, I tell you what, man, you guys, I'm a stand-up comedian, actor. You guys are in the entertainment business. The pandemic is affecting a lot of what we love to do. How are you guys dealing with that dynamic right now as far as filming and protocol on set as far as the pandemic goes?
A lot of patience.
Yeah.
Everything is just basically slowed down. There's a lot more steps to getting everything done. And if you've ever been on a film set before, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of people. So it's been kind of reinventing the wheel, I think would be the easiest way to put it, because a lot of changes had to be made to the normal film structure and the way of doing business to keep everybody safe.
Now, I mean, things are starting to get better. I mean, now they're talking about a Delta variant, so things might get a little bit more intense. But I think for the most part, everything's slowly and surely coming back to normal, which is going to make, filming a lot better. And, we're all going to go back to the theaters and so forth and so on, which is something I know you two guys are highly interested in people going back to the theaters and so forth. Tell us a little bit about your film. I was telling Dan earlier, we need more comedy in the faith-based world when it comes to films. We just do. I don't know if you guys have seen Church People, directed by Christopher Sean Shaw. Very, very funny film. It stars stand-up comedian / actor Thor Ramsey, but there's a very serious element underneath all of the hilarity and fun about, our allegiance to Christ and how we convey our beliefs in this world. Tell us a little bit about Game Changer, Joel, and what motivated you to do this film?
Well, it's a little bit more involved because, we're actually a nonprofit mission, much more so than just a film company. And so the original design for Game Changer came from coming up with a premise for a point to be made, a missional point to be made. And that was, reaching families and children in a way that kind of brought back more of a traditional family movie that had something that appealed to people pretty much of all ages. And so far in our test screenings, it's been great with about 4 to 15-year-olds, parents, grandparents, and about split 50-50 male-female, which has just been phenomenal. And so I started out with the goal of coming up with a story that had a great, a great message and a great, story for anybody who's watching the film, but also was entertaining and just fun and something that, families could come out together and just kind of laugh and have fun while not being offended and not seeing anything that was, was going to be inappropriate for your kids, which is also dramatically lacking. And that just kind of led to merging in kind of a sports story in with a lot of comedy to kind of tie the story all together and keep it still as a very engaging and entertaining project. So I think that was the main impetus behind, the direction for, launching what ultimately will be our mission here. We having technical difficulties?
We may have. Let's see what happens here.
Well, it's telling me that we're live, so I'll just keep talking and hopefully we can get reconnected here. So the premise of Game Changer is basically that your life will become more complete and more joyful when you live for somebody else and not just yourself. So there's actually a life-changing thing that happens within you when you stop being self-centered or selfish or greedy. And so Game Changer follows the best quarterback in all of professional football, who's up for a record-setting contract, focused in, pretty much entirely on himself, gets into trouble, has to coach a motley group of kids on a little league baseball team at a school that can't afford a coach. And throughout the hilarity that ensues with the team and the main kid on the team is their star pitcher, his widowed mother and their small little girl and the rest of the team, they kind of show this main character that the fame and fortune that he was focusing his life on previously was empty, and that he really didn't have the joy and the happiness in his life that he at one point in time thought he did. And as he transitions over, there's a great restitution that kind of happens through some situations with him and his father as well.
Mm-hmm. We might mention also the fact that a part of our mission is to provide this film as an outreach tool to local churches around the country. So not only is the mission for Rock This World Productions to impact the culture with great content and with the resources that come from those projects that we do, but we want to provide a resource to the local church to be able to reach out to their community and provide a fun, entertaining, relaxing time away, just as we're getting through this whole lockdown situation with COVID. An opportunity to gather again, to hear some life-changing input, to laugh, as we talked about earlier. And we're really excited about getting this out, and would love for anybody to contact us that is interested in showing the film at their church. We make it a very, very win-win situation for your church and for your people. And it's an easy ask to get your neighbors, your friends, your family to come and to just enjoy a couple hours of hilarious family fun and a powerful gospel message at the same time.
Yeah, and a very, comical, fun for everybody, real world gospel message. In the pre-screenings and test screenings that we've done with over 600 people now, we've actually had a couple of non-believers write very, very powerful reviews about how pertinent to the situations we're in right now this story is, and how they didn't feel, that they were being preached to or anything along those lines, and that they would actually recommend it to their non-believing friends. So that was very encouraging, because that is kind of one of the impetuses behind, how it was written and how the story unfolds, concentrating on that real world gospel message that we can.
Yes, sir.
And so we don't know if we're live and
he's
not, or if he's live.
It's telling us we're still live here. So, yeah, we're just kind of answering some of the questions that you had on the list. So we can continue. I don't know how long this will go, but we're more than happy to continue to chat.
Technology, it's only good when it works. We need a 15-year-old to fix this.
Yeah, he's got Maurice's son is working on the tech side of it right now. So we've got the youngster going after it. So that's great. Yeah, we'll continue just to chit chat here, and whenever you can come back in, that's fine.
All right, so you don't want to really watch us talk to each other on the phone. So one of the next questions that Maurice was talking about the movie night concept for the film, and Dan just spoke about that a little bit. One of the key aspects of our mission is that the proceeds of the film go to charities that we've partnered up with that are directly tied into the people that are the impetus of our stories. So for Game Changer, it deals a lot with kids with no fathers, needy families, those types of situations. And so we're teaming up with Cross International for their work in orphanages in Africa and Central America and a few other places around the world where they're really in the poorest of the poor areas. And so proceeds of the film will go to Cross International. We are also working with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Urban Atlanta Sports Group, and actually used their head of baseball in the film. He was extremely helpful, did a lot of the baseball coordination in the film. And we used a fair amount of their kids, got to be extras in the film. So that was kind of cool. And we'll be supporting their organizations here in Atlanta that work with kids, where there's about around a 90% fatherless rate. And so the mentoring and the after school type programs that they're able to do are life changing and life saving in many ways as well. Just a phenomenal program there with Brent Slade running the baseball programs and a couple other new programs that they're launching here.
Hey, Joel, can you speak to the statistics regarding kids and why we're targeting the younger generation like this?
Yeah, one of the let me kind of finish that other point. With one of the reasons for the family movie night outs through the churches is once again where that allows us to we're giving the film away, so it's at no cost to the churches and it's at no cost to anybody that comes and sees it. And then at the end, we're just asking for people to pay it forwards through donations to our nonprofit, so that we can continue to, replicate this model and get it out to more families and more people for free, while still raising donations for, the charities that we're working for. And you can't do that in a movie theater. So that's one of the ways where the churches are directly advantageous to us, because it allows us to keep all of those proceeds and all of those donations that will ultimately go to maintaining the mission of physically going out and living the gospel by helping other people in needs, and not just talking about it in our films. So that's we're hoping that'll become a great tool, and we're currently building a large list of churches, and our goal is to have around 500 by this fall, possibly Thanksgiving, and it's growing quickly, so we're well on our way. So if you anybody out there would like to see if their church would be interested in this, you can reach us at rockthisworldproductions.com. Remind me, Dan, what was your question there again?
Just the statistics regarding the challenge of young kids getting truth in this day and age.
So right now, by the time a child is 17 years old, so the first 16 years of their life, they are currently exposed to around 66,000 hours of media. That's film, TV, social media, basically that thing that they stick in front of that we all stick in front of our face. I'm as guilty as probably anyone. And I think we would all agree that a lot of that is not positive, inspiring, and certainly not moral. Contrasted to that same child gets around 11,000 hours in school, around 2,000 hours of direct time with their parents, and about 800 hours if they go to church once a week. So it's kind of an unfair battle right now to compare 800 hours or a couple thousand hours directly with parents to 66,000 hours of media. And that's where we need to jump in and engage. And that's where we need your support, so that we can continue to make more positive and inspiring moral projects that are, great, entertaining films, but also safe for you and your families to watch without all the objectionable content, or quite frankly, a lot of the evil content that's coming out today. So that's an extremely important mission right now, and obviously we need your help to make that happen, because it costs money to make films, and it also takes eyeballs to watch them and to talk about them and to get behind them. You got the next question there, Dan?
I do not.
I got it. Work.
Pull it up.
Okay, so he's asking what it was like working with Corbin Burnson, Ashley Brasher, and Brody Rose. The easy answer to that was phenomenal, especially for me as an actor who was, I play one of the main characters, the main guy with all the problems, which was very easy for me to play. And having such amazing talent opposite me was just phenomenal. Corbin Burnson plays my dad, and not to have the cliche statement, but just knocked it out of the park. We had some very powerful and emotional scenes that were extremely easy to do because he is just a phenomenal actor. And we were able to knock that out in a very short amount of time, which was extremely helpful to us. And the same with Ashley. She plays the main mom, the main female character in the film, the mom of the main kid, who's played by Brody Rose. And once again, just a phenomenal talent. Just made it super easy for those scenes to come out and to look amazing. And then Brody, I usually try to pick fun of him because we're really close. And his dad, Jeff Rose, was the director. And for whatever reason, I just don't have a funny joke right now for you, Brody. So sorry, but it was a pleasure to work with you. You are a great talent as well. And then having Jeff there to kind of wrangle us all together and help bring my vision of the story to life, especially when I was wearing so many hats and needing somebody to bring that directorial guide to get that vision out. So yeah. Working with talented actors is amazing. And those three, Corbin, Ashley, and Brody, were phenomenal. And I need to throw in Michaela Russell, who plays the main little girl in the film, who's Brody's sister and Ashley's daughter. And that when you write a script for a young child, like a 9, 10, age child, you generally pull back because it's very hard to get somebody in that age range with that's going to be able to deliver a comedy and emotion and depth. And as soon as Michaela stepped into the audition, we realized, okay, we don't have to pull back because she's about as good as the rest of us. So when you're watching this film, you're going to be blown away by this little girl's performance. Because she was just phenomenal as well. And once again, that's our main cast. So that made it for a much better film and made it a lot easier for me.
That's great. I've got the questions up here, Joel. What are the chances that faith-based films could ever rival Hollywood? Is that conceivable? I would say absolutely. What do you think?
It's going to be dependent on the audience, entirely dependent on the audience. And because when you're making a film for a couple $100,000 and you're trying to compete against a $50 million film or a $200 million film, and if you have a couple $100,000 to make a movie or even $1 million or $2 million, you don't have $12 to $20 million for the marketing to get it out there at the same rate. So this is where us as filmmakers need to continue to make better projects. And this is where you as the fans can be the launching pad for this, because if you're watching our products, if you're talking about them, if you're giving us grassroots free advertising, it will explode and we'll be able to make better films at higher budget levels. Stuff that has more special effects, that has, bigger scenes and things that will start to rival what Hollywood is doing. And so it's very possible, but it's going to take people that are here for the right reason, and that reason being the content and getting out that content that can compete and that should compete and that should beat some of the stuff that's coming out that's just not good, however you wanted to describe it, especially from a moral standpoint.
Well, and it seems like there's a growing list of top-notch actors as well that are kind of moving into the space, getting tired of the same old crass, ugly, disgusting filth that Hollywood is putting out, and they're wanting to move more towards faith-based and family-friendly types of programming. So I'm sure that will help as well.
Yeah. That's why I decided to stop being just an actor and launch a film company, because I would get 20 auditions and I would go on one of them, because the rest were just either bad projects that I just didn't want to be part of, or offensively, morally bad projects that I wasn't going to be part of. And I quickly realized that until we have the right scripts, the change ain't going to happen. And so that was the main driving force for me to launch Rock This World Productions.
What have you learned about from the experience of a producer that has made you better equipped to produce faith-based films, would you say?
I was expecting you to avoid that question, because you know that answer is going to take 2 weeks to get through.
Well, and there's some areas we won't touch on.
Yeah. Everything starts with your purpose. And in writing, it's generally referred to as a premise. What's the point? What's the point of the film? Is it just mind-numbing entertainment where you're blowing a whole bunch of stuff up, or are you trying to put out a feel-good story? Are you trying to put out a message? Like, what's the point? Why are you doing this? And I think a lot of times that's missed by a lot of, especially secular filmmakers. Yeah. So I think until you've come up with that concept, you can't even start to write a script. So once you have that premise, once you have that point, then you move into the script. And if you don't have a good script, doesn't matter who's acting or who's directing or who's producing. So it goes from the premise, the actual point, the purpose, to the script. And then I think what we found, obviously, some of the stuff that was uncontrollable to us is that pre-production is everything. And that having the people on board that are there for the right reasons, the same aspect of, why are you doing this project? Are you here to get a paycheck, or are you here for something bigger? And that's extremely important. But making an hour and 40-minute movie takes groups of people months and months and months, and sometimes years to put together. And it just requires the right people and the right pre-planning. And we had a couple of last-minute changes that were unavoidable, or we had nothing to do with, that didn't really give us that chance to do the right pre-planning, and that caused some problems that we had to go back in and fix. Right. And then obviously filming into the COVID season was completely different, and hopefully people are kind of waking up to the truth, and the real science is getting out there, and we can start to make properly informed decisions about how to go back to life safely much quicker than the way it's been going, because that's also going to play into everything we're doing right now, and that also creates huge additions to your budget that you don't see on screen, and exactly. It doesn't help the value of your film at all, and so those are factors as well. But I think
let me ask you this:
have a point, have a purpose, and then go into your proper screenwriting techniques. And then if you're turning into a filmmaker, you better have substantial pre-production, and make sure that you have the right people there for the right reasons, and that will alleviate a lot of your problems. It's still a miracle to put it all together, but if you're there for the right purpose, and your people are there for the right purpose, you'll make it happen. God will see you through.
Yeah, we saw numerous God stories during the production of this project, and we don't have time to get into it, but pretty exciting, and glad we're back with Maurice. Joel, one question I was going to ask you to comment on. I've got some thoughts on it, but it seems as though in the faith-based community, we tend to kind of avoid edginess in the film, and as a result, we kind of soften the message, and we kind of miss the mark from a faith-based standpoint, because it's not real to the audience. What do you think about the cutting-edge stuff?
That is a very important, because for those of you that don't know, I'm slightly emotional individual, and some of these things really hit home to me. If we're not reaching the lost, then I think we're missing one of the most vital aspects of our mission. I do believe that, what I would consider to be Sunday school Christians, there is no content for them. So people that are putting out content that's more applicable to those types of people, amazing stuff. It's great. There's, those people that, there's got to be content for them as well. But God's been calling me very specifically to doing much more mainstream projects that will, I'm sorry. Like, I was talking to a couple of doctors last week about this very thing, and it's two of the biggest specialists in the world, and they said, well, this normally happens to the most attractive people, and then unfortunately they had no idea why it happens to me, so it wasn't helpful. That joke doesn't play so well on a streaming service. So, okay, now that I'm back, I believe that is, for many, many ways, God has really put it on my heart to do very specifically target projects that are, again, I use the word real world gospel messages. I'm not trying to tell you something in my films. I'm trying to show you something that is real. And then you can draw from the reality of what's happening in the real world from, fictional characters representing very real characters that all of us know and experience. And you get to go on that emotional roller coaster through them, as the main character goes through his inner arc and his struggles, and you realize that the gospel message that we're getting across is real, and it is better. And it's a show, not tell type of mentality, with throwing in comedy and a few other things that are sometimes lacking. I think bridges that gap and does entertain and does reach people that aren't church attending Christians, I guess I would say. And like I said, we've already had two. We had a video review and a written review from two agnostic / atheists that were just highly recommending the film, saying that it was extremely pertinent message for what's going on today. There's obviously an attack on the traditional family, an attack on men, an attack on men being men and being fathers, and that's something that's just from a real world perspective is addressed in the film. How damaging it can be for a child not to have a father in their life. And so once again, that stuff just coming out naturally through these real to life characters, I think is the message that reaches people, while still really concentrating on that clean entertainment. And for me, it's not hard. I don't know. Maybe it's hard for people to put that kind of stuff together, but obviously God's calling me to it because that's how I see things, and that's how I formulate scripts from a writing perspective, and we need a lot more of it. We need a lot more of it.
Yep, no doubt. This is actually the culmination of a 32-year vision that God gave me back in 1989, and it's a thrill to be a part of it.
Well, guys, first of all, I want to thank both of you for hanging in there and making this show, because here's the reality, and I love your heart, Joel, because I was telling my son as he was trying to get me back up and running, to get Pop standing up straight again. I was telling my son, I said, it's interesting because my son said, Dad, this has been kind of an ongoing issue as I have been allowing God to use me to put his people that are in entertainment out so the world can see their projects, what they're doing and what they're working on. I've made it my focus to get the faith-based world visibility and attention. I've just focused in on that, and, I've had different types of issues pop up with my show from time to time. I've always had to, son, help Dad. Yeah. He said, Dad, that there's nothing wrong with any other computer in this home? And I said, well, you know, I know that the devil is not happy with what I'm doing. And I looked up and I saw you guys, the show was still going. And I said, the devil didn't win here. Joel still had the opportunity to talk about his film and what God's doing in his life through you and Dan.
Yep.
It didn't stop anything.
Yep.
And I was telling my son, I said, look at that. They're still going. I don't even need to be there. I mean, Dan and Joel are holding it down. The show is going forward as God intended. You know, and it's nothing but warfare, Joel.
Yeah.
This is nothing but spiritual warfare. And what you're doing, your heart for God is so strong, it's so bright, it's so true, and so focused. God's going to make sure you succeed. And I tell you, dude, I love your heart, Joel. I love the way you just poured your passion out, and it's nothing but spiritual warfare, man. I feel encouraged just because, you know, you were able. The show was about Game Changer and Joel DeVisser and Dan Knutson, and it wasn't stopped. The enemy couldn't stop it. Everybody got a chance to hear your heart and what you're doing. And I just love it. I just love it. And like I said, it's God doesn't need me to do anything but facilitate a way for him to do what he wants to do. And he's done that today. And it's been my honor to have you guys on the show. Dan, thank goodness I wrote the questions down for you.
Well, we kind of made up a couple anyway. So.
Yes. Absolutely. Great conversation.
Sharing his heart, he's hard to stop. So that's exciting.
It is.
And you might have to have us back on to tell you all the God stories that happened in the process of producing this thing. And I'm sure it's not done, but there are some amazing miracles that were pulled off.
Did you get a chance, Joel, to, I don't know how far down the list of questions that I came up with there, Dan, but did you get a chance to express, Joel, what advice that you could share with young people that want to make this kind of business a career, like acting and producing and that kind of thing, particularly in the faith-based world?
Yeah, we talked on that a little bit, but probably more from an overall writing, storytelling standpoint. From an acting standpoint, which is going to apply to the vast majority of people, man, it's tough. What I can tell you is don't quit. You're going to get told no so many times, and the vast majority of the time, it may have nothing to do with your talent or abilities. The greatest example I can tell you is when we're casting people, if we set on a main character and that main character has a certain look and you look just like that main character and you're auditioning for a smaller role, highly unlikely you're going to get that role because right away we're going to go for a different look. And that's even being pushed now more than ever. So I would say that it's a tough business, man. And if you're getting into it for the right purpose and you're getting into it to serve God, don't quit and keep moving forwards. As long as you keep moving forwards, and don't sell yourself out. So many people today will sell themselves out just to get a role. I'll do this role. I know it's an immoral project, but it'll give me a chance to showcase my acting ability, and I'll make it. This is my breakout role. There are very few, if any, breakout roles. If 100 people had posted, "Here's my breakout role, I'm going," 99 of them never worked again, or didn't work again in that philosophy or that level or whatever it is. So you have to take every day at a time. And man, I'm going to be a broken record, but you just can't quit. If this is your passion, if this is what God's calling you for, don't quit. And and follow us on Rock This World Productions. That way you always know when we have projects coming out. We're always looking for new talent. If we find people that are good, we're here for the mission. So we're happy to tell other people about what we're doing and what we have, as far as, acting and stuff. So, submit, get your stuff out there. If you're told no and you're good, you're still going to get put in somebody's mindset and remembered for a future project. But just for reference, when we cast for, I think it was 21 or 20, a little over 20 roles is what we put up for casting. We initially got 33,000 submissions.
Wow.
So if you're making it past that to a callback or something like that, or you're getting the audition, you're doing good, and you just got to keep at it. And yeah, it's a cutthroat business, and that's also one of the reasons why I decided I was just going to launch a film company myself, because I was, I'm like, man, I'm just not going to go on these auditions. They're not good, and you don't get feedback. It's, so we try to give feedback, and then I always get yelled at because we're by noon on the first day of casting, we're already 2 hours behind because I'm trying to help people. So, I think, if you're here for the right reason and you're giving it everything, yeah, just don't quit. I know I'm a complete broken record, but and then we did talk about from the filmmaking standpoint of, again, having a premise, having a reason for what your story is going to be, so that there is a message, there is a point. Especially where we're at lower budget project stuff, we don't have $200 million to blow up entire cities. I can't have a check your brain at the door story or script for where we're at. We have to have engaging, entertaining, dramatically pulling, scripts where you can vicariously connect to those characters, because we don't have $150 million, to CGI blow up Chicago or whatever it is. So, but hopefully we're making up for that in better stories. And once again, with support, eyeballs of the people watching, those levels are going to grow. Look what's happening with some of the other faith-based filmmakers. They started out a couple $100,000, and now they're making million and multi-million-dollar projects. So we're growing, and we just got to keep at it, and we need support.
Yeah. Amen. And shout out to my good acting buddy Gigi Orsillo. She's been hanging with us. Or Gigi is in the film Sleeper Agent with Leland Knutson, and she's got another film coming out called Running the Bases, another great faith-based film concept. And if Gigi, let us know when that film is going to be available for the public. But can't wait for that to come out. But hey, Gigi. And so, I just love putting the truth out there, Joel, because here's the reality. It's a tough business. There are a lot of no's. I know I did a film in 2016 called Love Different with Jen Gotson. I don't know if you guys have ever met Jen Gotson Chandler or not. Very good faith-based actress. Yep. Filmed, directed by Anthony Hackett. And then all of a sudden things went dry. I think I won another audition, and then it's just been tough going for me ever since. It's like I've gotten a lot of callbacks, but I haven't been able to seal the deal. But you keep going in this business because you're doing it for the right reasons. God knows the door that he wants to open. And you have to trust his leadership and guidance through that. Gigi says Family Camp and Running the Bases will be out in theaters this spring. Thank you, Gigi. Can't wait for that to come out. Nice. That also includes Gary Nation and Todd Terry from the crime series Vindication. That can be seen on PureFlix. Thank you, Gigi. And by the way, when can fans expect to see Game Changer, Joel?
We're still working on some of that. It keeps kind of evolving and changing every week or two. Right now, for the purpose of the greater purpose of the mission, we're focusing strategically on the church family movie night out launch, and we'll be building into the more traditional nationwide release sometime in the fall. There's a few things that have to kind of get put together. And what we're launching here is something much more than just one film. So it's taking a little bit longer than we were expecting, but it will be what ultimately launches kind of our missional approach to all of our family projects coming forwards. And the next one is already kind of moving forwards in the works. and hoping to have that one out next summer, fall again around the same time, again through the same style of release, where we're allowing churches to use it as a community outreach tool, which is also multiple aspects of our mission are helped by that aspect of it, and then tying in the theatrical release and normal release around that time or thereafter. So we're working out some of the bugs because it's a little bit different than anything else that's been done before, and but it'll be sometime yet this fall.
Joel, it's interesting as you were talking about not compromising your faith for a role. Right after I won the audition in Love Different, I auditioned for another film, and I won it. And I was cast, and I was at the table read. The problem with this film on my end was my wife and I, when we received the script, we went straight to my part in the film.
Yeah.
We didn't read the script, is what I'm saying. So we were so excited. Oh, honey, you got to say this. Let's practice. So anyway, I get to the table read, and realize this is not a faith-based film.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like really not a faith-based film, Joel. Wow. And I was mortified. I'm like, oh, Lord, you got to get me out of this.
Yeah.
And I'd already signed to do the film. And sure enough, the project folded. God got me out of there.
Yeah.
The project, I mean, and to this day, I don't know what happened, because the producer of the film moved on to some other projects, never addressed what happened there. And you know what? I'm just thankful that I don't have to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson to me and other faith-based actors and actresses. Do your research before you sign on the dotted line. Make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's hard. Sometimes actors don't even get the full script until they get the role. I had 2 roles in similar types of things that just got cut out of the film completely for the same type of thing. I was like, okay, newer actor, at least in this type of thing. And I'm not going to give any information because I don't want to put out the names of the films or anything. But
absolutely.
Projects, and it got left on the cutting room floor. And by the time I got onto set and found some people that had left scripts laying around, and I'm looking through a little bit closer, and some changes, a lot of changes that were made from the original script. And I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I was told that this issue was going to be completely different and not addressed. And now it's becoming almost a central, point of this, project. Yeah. And by the time the thing hit theaters, I was pretty much, and the scenes that I was in were completely cut out. So whether that was a God thing or I was a terrible actor at that time, I don't know. I'm going to go with God thing, but same type of thing. Just, it was a lesson of, okay, I thought I did my due diligence in proofing through this. And one of them was for moral reasons. The other one was just not, it was a check your brain at the door type of film, which, whatever. But the other one, I was like, man, I don't want my parents or my grandparents or, or my pastor or the kids in my youth group to see this. And this is not what was in the pages, when I got the part. And I'm gonna, I'll go to my grave saying that God was already, pushing me towards where I'm going and saying, you don't want this on your resume.
That's right. That's right.
And no matter what pay they're offering, it's irrelevant. You gotta figure out like what's your character worth, and
absolutely.
And it should be it should be unattainable amount of money. That should be the answer. So,
well, Joel, I can tell you it wasn't because you're not a good actor. God didn't want you a part of that. It was all God, and He knows His children's hearts, what we're trying to do for Him. He knows what we're trying to do, and He will protect us as long as we keep seeking Him and just stand with Him, stand on board with the Lord. He will lead us. The Holy Ghost will always lead us to where we need to go. We just got to stay with Him and trust His leading and guiding, man, and we'll be fine. And that's all that is. there is to that. God doesn't want us in the middle of muck and mire. He doesn't want us there, and he'll keep us away from it if we don't see it with our own eyes. And sometimes, but you got to be careful in this business because it can happen. It can happen so easily, and you definitely don't want to compromise your beliefs just so you can get more visibility. And just like you were alluding to earlier, I just want people to see, what I can do. That's all, and so forth. And that's just the devil talking. The certain avenues that you shouldn't go down. Joel, let me let's end on how fans can follow you on social media and Game Changer.
Right now, to kind of follow exactly what we're doing, rockthisworldproductions.com is where everything will kind of be updated as to how this is coming out over the next few weeks and months. And the social media, I'm looking for that 15-year-old intern to kind of help out there. And we've held off on some of the boosting of that until we have more definitive information. But that will be, again, found on Rock This World Productions, both on Instagram, Facebook. A lot of it will be posted on my pages, simply because you find that people follow people. They don't follow film companies. Things like that. They just don't at all. You can look up some of the most popular films, and they'll have 4 million followers after 10 years and 9 episodes. And you look at their main actor who has 200 million or whatever. So, and I just don't have the time to spend updating, 5 or 6 social media pages with everything else. But if Rock This World Productions will take you pretty much, you'll find us there on everything. And we will very soon start uploading that. Our actual world premiere here in Atlanta is August 14th. And that will be in Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. You can find that again on Rock This World Productions on Facebook. If you're in the area, swing on by. You get to meet the cast and hear a little bit more about what we're doing, the mission, some Q&A with the cast, a great bunch of kids. Phenomenal actors. So just a good fun time to bring your kids, bring your parents, your grandparents. Great family movie night out, and we'll have some more information coming out at that time for other forms of the release coming up. And everything we're doing is very strategically structured around us keeping our core mission intact, and that is if we're going to serve God, it's a two-part service, because Jesus said the greatest commandment is to love God with everything. And the second is to love others as yourself.
Amen.
And he said very specifically, these two things sum up all of the law and the prophets. It's everything. It is the gospel message. So,
yes. I totally agree, Joel. Joel, you couldn't.
When you have that content, that is serving God through the content and reaching people there, but then we must follow it up with the proceeds going to people in need and serving God realistically in the real world and proving that message. So if I have a film that says your life will get better if you live for other people, but I'm not living that out in the same visual sense, then I'm a hypocrite. And so this is literally us just living out that gospel message and proving that this will make your life better. Promise. Give it a try.
Amen. I love it. And I love the trailer. It looks very funny. It looks like a very good film. And for those that are watching, this is Joel DeVisser, executive producer of the faith-based film Game Changer, along with producer Dan Knutson. This film, it can be viewed. They're giving all local churches an opportunity for a movie night to see their film. If you're interested in having this film at your church on a movie night, please contact Joel DeVisser or Dan Knutson of the film Game Changer. You can follow them on social media. You can contact Joel and Dan. And once more, by email, if you don't mind me giving the information out, Dan.K@rockthisworldproductions.com, Joel@rockthisworldproductions.com is how you can contact these two gentlemen if you want to see the film at a movie night at your local church. They can make that happen. Believe me, folks, it's going to be well worth your while if you can see it before it's released for public consumption, because I have a feeling it's going to do really, really well in the theaters. So this is your opportunity to see that. If you've been watching this interview and you thought that it was pretty cool, hey, like it and share it. And subscribe to the Maurice Brown Comedy Channel on YouTube and any social media engine that Joel DeVisser and Dan Knutson are a part of. If you're just coming in and you're like, I missed it. Oh, no. It's okay. Because tomorrow, about midday, you can see the entire interview on the Creative Motion Network on Roku TV. That's going to be tomorrow around about noon. You can see the whole thing, so it's all good. You didn't miss anything at all. You can see the whole thing. So
Awesome.
we've been talking with Joel DeVisser and Dan Knutson of the film Game Changer on the Maurice Brown Show. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been my honor to have you on and privilege to have you on and to get Game Changer seen by the world. Joel and Dan, thank you so much, guys. May the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your families, guys. God bless you.
Thank you, Maurice.
Man.
Appreciate it
God
so
bless
much.
you as well.